chart?
I'm not contagious anymore.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I'm gonna request you sanitize everything you sign tonight.
I'm not touching anything else. I'm good.
Can't get COVID before you go deer hunting.
Oh, when's that?
Wednesday.
Oh.
You can get it today and not have syphilis for a while, so you're fine. You should be clear. Unless you got it over the weekend.
Strong possibility.
Uh-oh, Billy came. You're gonna have to move, Ted.
Oh, but he said, yeah, I know.
It's quite the sandwich you got there.
Bill,
Like the mustard on the BLT.
Bill's over here. Bill's over here licking the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm good. Don't touch me after you touch me.
I just said, that's, I think, the problem. You put that thing on the floor right here.
So's yours.
No, because you've said it before. Don't even go up there. Do these things. Some kind of a
You want this one?
manipulation.
Here, take this one. I'll take Jacksonville.
Is that the deal? It's just part of what Jackson's doing?
If there's a chance, you definitely got it.
You're right, Kelly. Fully locked in. Easy, girl. That's what I'm still got some plenty
Those were mine. We didn't think you were coming.
Never know the problem. Yeah, we go wherever you be. Go whatever you were going.
I should have said someone my bad.
No, that's all right.
Hey, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yep. I think we need to discuss what part of that Matt is going to assign with Bartley's role, and if we're going to need one or two days. Yeah, I think it's a discussion. Hopefully, for sure. But what we don't know is how he would perceive this as a guy who's going to oversee both of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not prepared to get into the after that. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't think we can do that. We just don't have that 2 weeks after he's up to absorb all the responsibilities.
It needs to go.
You'll just inform us that we have 120 lunch. Ham lunch. Yeah, that's what they told me at 3. Should be good.
I suppose that's pretty good.
They gave mine.
You didn't get seriously? No way. Sweet mother of course.
Yeah.
How'd the mayor squeak by without that one? You want to share?
But I'm really offended. I can't believe my employer would push something like that.
Right, I can't either.
There's one more up front we can share something.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. First up is approval of the agenda. Any changes, additions, anything we need to make?
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion on a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, agenda approved. First thing on the agenda is public hearing. This is a public hearing for the vacation of Industrial Street and Industrial Avenue.
Thank you, Mayor. The city received a petition requesting that we vacate Industrial Avenue and Industrial Street in the Lennox Industrial Park. With Sioux Steel relocating all their operations down here, they purchased the remaining properties along those two streets. I see no significant concerns with this petition. With Sioux Steel owning all that adjacent property, they're the only taxpayer impacted by that change. That being said, I know that there are many trucks that use Industrial Street in particular for overnight parking, and that street will no longer be available to those users. I believe Hugh Dodson from Sioux Steel is here tonight to speak to a little bit. I'll pull the map of this location up.
Good evening, Hugh Dodson, Sioux Steel, and the petition is to close Industrial Avenue and Street. It's a little confusing, but it's about a block of each, and we now own all the property, I think as Nate said, on both sides of the street surrounding, and we are in the middle of moving all our operations from Sioux Falls down to these facilities. We started last spring. We've probably got about 60% of the machinery down now, and 10 personnel transferred down. We've got about, I think 15 more people roughly coming down. And with that, all of our operations will be out of here. The truck traffic's going to increase, telehandlers, forklifts, storage. And so for the safety of our own personnel and just the public at large, we're petitioning to close the streets.
Would you still use them?
Yes.
Like you guys just interpret the inside your property?
Yeah, we'll still have semi tractor trailers coming through there.
Here's a question for Mitch or Nate. Do we have any underground facilities?
We pull that up here. Mitch, if you can speak to it.
Yeah, there's sewer and water facilities in there, so we have to maintain easements through there for those facilities.
How much traffic that isn't for your business do you think is on those roads?
For our business?
That is not.
Oh, it is not. I don't have a good answer for that. During the day, I do know at night there are trucks that you mentioned that park on at least one of those streets.
I've lived here 10 years and I can safely say I've never gone down those streets.
I think the only time I've gone on those streets was to see you.
Yeah. We do a lot of we're going to do a lot of transfer between facilities. That's what's going to increase because these machines come to Sioux Falls and be split between these facilities.
Is there a question in the audience?
Yes, I do have a question. Will the entrances to those streets be gated or controlled in any way, or just going to remain to appear to be public streets?
At this point, we're not going to gate them. If we need a sign or something that says private drive, we can install that, but we had no intention of closing them off.
And so if we have to get to that service, then we just go get them with.
Yeah,
How is that
what we would do,
process?
so if the resolution on the agenda today is approved, what I suggest we do is direct city engineer to replat along with an easement for utilities.
When you have trucks that come in there now, or as you increase that, are you going to flow them through there one direction, or is it kind of come and go on both ends? Do you know?
Right now, it's come and go on both. But we are still looking at, it's called the Boyd Distribution Center. It's going to be on the west side of, is that street that goes north?
It's Industrial
West
Avenue,
Street,
the street.
north south.
Yeah, so just on the west side of that, south of Seams. And with that, there'll be a lot of truck traffic coming through to feed that. And we anticipate them basically going one way. I'm not sure which way. It's probably coming out on 44.
that property from us?
It wouldn't necessarily be purchasing it, but it would be granted in the replat.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dollars there.
Yeah, so the citizens of Lennox paid for 2 blocks to be paved and curbed and guttered, right?
I'm not sure who paid for the, given that it's in the industrial park, it could have been LABC, it could have been property owners, I'm not sure. But potentially, yes.
And those are pretty new streets.
Yeah, because when we called about getting asphalt put on the street, it was like $55,000 for a block. And I don't know what curb and gutter on 2 sides of a road cost. That's the only thing I worry about is if we give this, we're giving away our infrastructure that somebody paid for. We have to know who paid for it.
That's a valid argument.
My concern with vacating streets like this is, yes, you own all the property right now, but that's not to say that it wouldn't change hands in the future and then you have no streets to get to these interior lots.
I mean, the good thing is, his plan is to not do anything with the streets. He plans on leaving, not taking them out.
Right.
That way.
Yeah, they're just
They
gonna
still need them for access.
detour them all, whether they resurface them or.
I'm assuming you have to apply for some kind of utility easement for the,
It would be on the replat. When we plat them, the easement would be on there.
I mean, for all utilities, because right now they're in right way.
Right. Yeah.
And the right way would be gone if this goes through.
Is there some kind of a clause we could have in there? In regard to if something would happen where Sioux Steel goes away for whatever reason, and now all of a sudden we've got pieces we could possibly sell to Stacy's point to where we could get those streets back? I've been in the process of vacating, I've never been in the process of, oh, we need that street back. And I don't know if that exists or not, or that happens, I don't know.
Can I ask you, Hugh, with the replat, were you thinking of replatting parcels and then consolidating the number of parcels out there?
No.
Is that something we considered?
Most likely, I mean, unless it's specifically written in there, typically it's buying right away for a road that you pay dearly for it. So like you said, if we're giving it away now, and then we need it in the future, then we have to buy it back when we own it now.
Yeah. And because, I mean, I'm in favor of go ahead and vacating it, that's fine, only because it really, where it sits now, there's nobody, what do you public use it for? I mean, it doesn't take you anywhere but into the heart of Sioux Steel. But I just wanna make sure if, anyway, things change, whatever, and then all of a sudden you've got a business that or somebody wants to come into that building, that, I think that's Fusion, right? Building, or wants to use other pieces, and all of a sudden they replat, and they want access, I don't want to be able to do that, it's just gonna look better for, not that saying Sioux Steel's going anywhere, I'm just trying to protect this. I don't know.
What happened to the south portion?
We vacated that,
That one's been vacated.
because Sioux Steel sits on there and wanted more for just, wow. I think, if I recall,
There's a little strip there that was deeded over
yeah.
a couple years ago. A year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that curb and gutter street?
No,
I don't think that's it.
it was just sitting there just like it did now, it was just,
So it's been used as a
Part of
parking.
the yard.
Yeah.
That's any comments?
One thought that just comes to mind, that, since we have several parcels there, every parcel has to have access, which looks like they put up to Oriole on the south. So we just wanna make sure every parcel does have access coming out, so there might even, if you were to redevelop in the future and sell pieces off, you'd have to have a conversation with anybody that buys that land about access easements, whether it's an easement or a rededicated anybody to come back to you and ask you to take over the street again would be a dedication. I wouldn't expect that there'd be any purchasing there.
Correct. Is that something that we'd have to write in there?
I don't know how you're going to write that in the dedication.
I'd hate to give it away and then have to pay to get it back is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because we'd more than likely be rebuilding the road and the curb and gutter.
Right.
The point that Nick was bringing up is there one parcel there that would become landlocked or be no road access to it, and that's not permitted by state law, so you'd have to replat that.
So, it sounds like we've got a few things to go back to the drawing board on, and we can do that with you. Tonight's just a public hearing. We can, what I would suggest is tabling the resolution later on in the meeting, so we can go back and, do some reconfiguring and make sure we've got everything covered in there.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Alright. Hearing no more comments, we will close the public hearing. On to visitors to be heard. Members of the public may speak under visitors to be heard on any topic not on the agenda. If you would like to, come up to the podium and you have 2 minutes. Alright, seeing none, we'll go on to consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Alright, do roll call. Ross.
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Buck.
Aye.
Consent agenda has been approved. Nothing on old business. So on the new business, first item is Central Basin 3 Pay Act number 6.
Good evening, everyone. Central Basin, phase 3 pay app number 6. Look here. So this is contract with Slowly Construction for work completed to date. We have retainage built into the application of $110,539, and it's time to recommend payment in an amount of $550,480.09. Questions?
This is all normal, nothing's changed.
No, this is pretty standard here. I'm not sure if the asphalt, what that made this pay at, but that would be the next one that they did.
The stuff on first, or all of it.
The second phase, the phase on Juniper and.
That was like first avenue where they patched. So that's what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
I think we did all that
That's
stuff.
probably on there already.
I think we did that last
That's fine.
time.
Yeah. Yep.
And they feel slowly is that pretty much on par with what they thought. I mean, I'm glad that the weather cooperated and they got the last of the asphalt down, right?
Yep.
This last week.
Yep.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Riley.
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Welch.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Pay app number 6 has been approved. On Central Basin 2, pay app number number 11.
So this is with winter contracting. This is getting them paid up for quantities to date. And again, we have, they have reached substantial completion on this project. I'm not sure. I'm noticing retainages. We have $13,828 in retainages, it looks like. That's the value of the seating that's left out there. That's really all they need to address still on the project, so we would recommend that retain that value until we can get a seat that's established and we can accept.
So that will be till spring probably.
Right. Yep. But at this time, we're recommending a payment of $152,158.25.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Welch.
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Riley. Doherty.
Aye.
the addition, thank you for doing that.
Yep. I asked Steve Dredlin, who's our certified operator, to come tonight. He was not able to. He's just getting over COVID bout too. So he's just getting back to work and he's trying to play catch up. So he just couldn't make it. So, but maybe at the next meeting we'll try to get him.
Whoever does your forced budget account every year, you need to kind of adjust that to make it line with what the actual is versus what we've had aligned with the last 12 months. Well, I'm just saying, like,
Something's wrong with the chart.
right? You got budget one, budget two, actual, and the actual is like 40,000 more than the budget.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I understand that things go up.
What you see there, Mitch and I have different force account numbers.
Yeah.
What's on our force account, item under the general fund, encompasses what we coded at. What Mitch is reporting out there on force account includes items that are coded to water fund, sewer fund, recreation fund, those kinds of things, so.
As the wastewater, and I talked to Kyle and Brian a little bit, that's kind of performing on par with how it's performed. I mean, I know you haven't been on it long, but
Yeah,
it's doing okay.
From what I've heard from our people, it seems like it's going well. I know it's been a dry year, so that's helped, you know. And you kind of see that in the charting even. But some of the maintenance that's been done out there. Yeah, so some of the work they've been doing out there definitely has helped things. And I think
Yeah,
they're
that,
doing well.
as far as I goes, we can't really put pinpoint as the collection system repairs are working, obviously because of the weather.
So dry.
But we did have some rain, this morning and last night, and we won't until the morning to see if there's any significant issues yet. But as far as the plants running, we are fighting the filamentous bacteria right now, that I know you guys are kind of familiar with. But, that can be easily treated, and we're in the process of doing that, and we're hitting all our permit compliance numbers monthly, so operation-wise, it's
Sweet.
in good shape.
One of the things to note on the performance management report, we don't have this done for October yet, but for the last 3 months, our influent at the plant has been less than the water sold. And that hasn't happened on the chart that I have for at least the last 2 years. So it's a really positive change. We'll take it regardless of if it's weather related or improvement related.
You've got a story, or I don't want to call it a story. I think people should actually see this, because I didn't realize this is what the bottom of some of those basins look like, with these diffusers.
Yeah.
In your opinion, okay, how often should those be kind of switched out?
Well, they should be taken down, I think, biannually, twice a year.
Okay, do you think they've ever been taken out?
Well, just for that repair.
Well, it's,
Yeah,
I think Basin 2 was done.
yes, that was for a needed repair.
Sure.
It's,
sure.
But
So it wasn't regular maintenance?
No.
The regular maintenance wasn't being done?
No. And
That's what he's getting at.
we're trying to kind of put that together. Like
Yeah,
biannual,
absolutely,
We'll take
yeah,
this down. and
sure.
Now that we've done it, we're gonna be able to do it more efficiently in-house.
And your intent is to do one reactor 1 year and the other next reactor?
Yeah.
So you pull those off and then just kind of brush them, inspect them, brush them
Yep,
off?
we inspected each one, there's 1,000, on the report, 1,125 diffusers, so, each one's got a silicone or rubber diaphragm, tiny, very perforated holes. They get plugged up with grease, solids, those are all inspected and repaired as needed.
Grease.
So you're putting together a maintenance plan that you're gonna follow, so
Pretty much,
every 2
yep.
years, basically, you guys are
We'll
gonna
take one out of
them down.
service, yep, inspect, clean, and then also
Exercise valves, do all the fun stuff.
anything that we can do down there, we're gonna do it while it's out of service. Absolutely.
I know council all knows this, but we had a milestone achievement last week with Kyle's pass, which was class 3.
Yeah.
Certainly great news. That's the big one in my understanding, so.
Yep, it is.
Good job.
You're on your way.
Thank you.
if we could have the flags in the back, that'd be kind of nice.
I can't speak very well.
I think I just take up a lot of space.
Climb over the table.
So the Deadwood Foundation actually sent us a check for $435 more than we requested, which is a nice surprise. And I treated this as sort of a test run on how the Deadwood grants work. This didn't require any kind of bidding process, competitive bids or that. So we're looking forward to taking the next steps in our plan that we had developed a few years ago. And that would be the tuck pointing the rest of the building, replacing the shingles which are original to the building, those sort of things. I want to point out that the museum building is the only structure on the National Register in the city of Lennox, and the historic plat from the state is the only one in Lincoln County outside of Canton. So this is a facility and an asset that we need to make sure that we maintain, because it is something that's unique to Lennox and essentially in the entire county.
All right.
Excellent.
Smile big, guys.
It's just a little end. There we go. There, we'll get the. There we go. Yep. Now we got both flags and everybody in it. 1, 2. It doesn't really matter if I count them down, does it? Okay.
So, do you mind if I ask a quick question? Sure. How did this come about? How are we here tonight with this happening?
We've been looking for ways. There are a few issues with the building and the negative that we did. We've been looking for over the past few years at how to get funding to address those.
Well, it's a lot of legwork you guys have done.
We contracted with an architect, a historical preservation architect, to put together a plan, and we got a grant from the national. What was it called?
National
Historic Preservation Fund to pay him to do that. So we've got a big plan for you. Like, he reviewed the grounds of the building, everything, and wrote up a plan in compliance with the national registry requirements. You have to use original materials and methods. So, yeah, right down to the formula for the mortar.
Wow.
Has to be compliant.
Well done.
Thank you. We'll be back. Next few months.
You know where to find us.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any more phantom?
All the way from.
No, I watched the building, but there is some further I
If not,
If not, I make a motion to table the next agenda.
All right. The next item is resolution 2020-11-901, vacating streets.
Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item has been tabled. Next is ordinance 614, omnibus ordinance revision.
Thank you, Mayor. This is consolidated ordinances that I initially brought, I think, about 6 weeks ago. There have been changes since then. So I won't read through the entire memo here, because most of that is just redundant from our first reading, our first time reviewing this. But since that first introduction back in September, we made two significant changes. The first one is to require a permit to park oversized vehicles, and that's trailers, campers, RVs, boats and boat trailers on city streets. Right now, the ordinance, I think, reads that you have to move it within every 24 hours. That's a harder ordinance to enforce for a number of reasons, but most significantly a recent Supreme Court decision. So when we looked at how do we more appropriately address this, we thought a permit would probably be the easiest way to do so. It includes language on how that permit would work. We would have to establish that permit fee in our terms of appearance of the community, this would be very helpful. There are still a number of parking issues that we have to deal with. I think we dealt with 3 vehicles or campers or trailers parked on basically yards, front yards, backyards, whatever it might be. Our ordinance is that it has to be on a hard surface. So there are a number of issues that we still need to address there and figure out the best way to address them. But we feel this would be appropriate for these parking vehicles on city streets. The other change is to chapter 9.0301, and that's to simplify the removal of planning commission members. And that was at the council's request, I think, a couple months back. Our recommendation tonight is to motion to approve the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, first reading gone through. All right, next is City of Lennox liquor licenses.
Is that time of year again?
Yes,
We
it
have
is.
to renew all of our liquor licenses. Denise typically handles all this, so I'll let her take the lead on that.
Yep, we received, all of the liquor licenses that were needed, and it's all a renewal, so there's no, public hearing that has to be done. You can just go ahead and, approve, and I would recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I abstain?
Sure. All right. Motion passes. On to Forte billing agreement.
Okay. With the moving to Simple City, software, Forte billing or credit card is, their credit card, company of choice, I guess. With the Simple City, we will be able to be doing our own auto pay. We'll be able to process it in-house and send it to the bank, kind of like what I do with payroll. And that will be a significant savings to us, to the city, for that service that we do pay quite a bit for now with PSN. Forte would still allow people to go out and on a one-time basis can make a payment to their utility bill by credit card or by check. But for the most, for the ones that are doing auto pay, we'll actually run it through here. So approximately we could save about $6,000 a year by switching from PSN to Forte.
We're not terminating an agreement or anything, it's not ready to.
I've never seen an agreement with PSN. We've never signed anything. I mean, if they had it installed when I got here. So as far as I know, no.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm assuming there'll be, people that are on auto pay now or whatever, they'll have to sign up again.
We're in the process of getting everybody to that point. Currently, the auto pay they were able to pay with their credit card. And so we sent out a letter that kind of said, sorry, we're not gonna be able to do that, we're gonna do it by checking or savings. And so now everybody is, which is good, we really need to have all of that, updated anyway, so.
Did we have a large portion that were paying auto payments on their credit card, or? Okay, there was.
There's quite, well, I wouldn't say, yeah, there was quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of them didn't have a problem with
Switching over.
moving to a checking or savings.
But they'll no longer be able to use their credit card.
They can use it if they want to go out and make a one-time payment. But
Not for the recurring.
not for the reoccurring auto pay. Auto pay is going to be checking and savings, and we're gonna do it in-house.
All right, we have a motion and a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
On to fire department snow plow operators.
Thank you, Mayor. This issue comes to us as a request from the Lennox Fire Department. The closing of the Lincoln County Highway operations in Lennox, their lease is going to lapse here at the
bay available. But with them leaving town, they won't have a plow to assist in reaching emergencies during snow events. So earlier this year, Lincoln County kind of consolidated all their operations into Canton, and they're going to keep it that way. So many of our volunteer firefighters already hold a CDL and are already operating city-owned vehicles as part of their duties as a volunteer firefighter. So they're already qualified to plow, to operate the equipment necessary to plow a path when Lennox staff aren't available on short notice. Chief Strasser and I believe that this is a necessary part of reaching an accident. When volunteers able to run equipment is beneficial to the city and the fire department. The arrangement has been reviewed by the city's insurance carrier. The only difference between these volunteers and their staff is the inclusion of random drug and alcohol testing. If the city council wishes to require that testing, as it's required for employees, I mean, we can certainly make those arrangements. So the chief has recommended 5 volunteer firefighters for approval to operate this equipment. It'd be Nathan Strasser, Brock Loderstrad, Chris Shuffleman, Tanner Tipton, and John Fisher. I recommend a motion to approve the roster of plow operators as presented.
So move.
Second.
Can I ask a question? Is this for whenever they go outside of the municipality?
Yeah, when it's something inside town, typically I would imagine it's going to be reachable, because if it's bad enough snow that it wouldn't be reachable, we're going to be in town plowing anyway. So at least taking care of emergency routes, and then we'd simply be in front of them on the rest of it. There may be times where we require an in-town response, but I would imagine those are going to be few and far between.
So then we would give the fire department a key to the city shop to go in and get the snowplow, or does the snowplow go to the city, to the fire department? How does
They
that
would
work?
be able to have access to our city shop.
Lincoln County Highway, are they just consolidating, they're just dropping that whole?
Yeah, they've just pulled everything back under the larger shop that they have there. I believe they've already got all their equipment out. So we've started putting our equipment in there as of this week, I believe.
Was that, this whole time, was that just something that the city of Lennox was just kind of benefiting from, is them being there? Is it?
I would say we at least loosely benefit from it. That plow would be available for Cleveland Avenue, for example. It'd be available for Highway 17, Klondike back to New York State. So Lennox residents would certainly benefit from it, but it's not necessarily operated in town.
And that's a heated day, right?
I believe so.
I think so.
Like all of them.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. Snowplow operators are approved. Purchase of new police patrol vehicle. Thank you.
Mayor and council, I have my memo in board docs, and I have Chief Will Erickson present this.
Thank you for having me come up here for this. As we discussed before, this is one of the rotation years that we need to get a new squad car for the department. During some of the discussions that I had, the research that I did, we were able to find a squad car for a pretty reasonable price. And recently, we just received South Dakota's bid from the company that we most recently purchased our last vehicle from. And purchasing it at the dealership that we're going to purchase it will probably save close to about $3,000 to $4,000 on their state bid versus ours. With that being said, there's also what they call as a upfit, which is all the equipment that we have in our squad cars. We've already made an arrangement with the dealership. They're going to send people down to Lennox to remove the equipment and take it back to their dealership to have it installed, so we don't have to worry about making several unnecessary trips. Any questions?
Motion motion to approve the vehicle and motion to approve the outfitting of the vehicle.
Second.
Or you wanna do it in separate ones? Sorry. Motion to approve purchase of the new vehicle up to $38,000.
Second.
Motion and a second, do roll call, so Rouse.
Aye.
Bowers.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Welch.
Aye.
Alright, motion passes.
We need another motion.
We need another motion. for
Motion to approve outfitting new patrol vehicle up to $18,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. We'll do Riley.
Aye.
Bowers.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Welch.
Aye.
Rouse.
Aye.
Motion passes. Good to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
And then on to personnel. First item on the agenda is Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mayor. We reached an agreement with a prospective employee. The executed proposed employment agreement is in board docs as of this morning. So review that. You'll see it includes all of the language that was requested. The start date for this employee, Matt Bartley, will be November 30. The agreement is for a term of 3 years. I recommend approval.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
And motion passes 4 to 1. On to Parks and Recreation Specialist.
Mayor, I recommend a motion to terminate Parks and Recreation Specialist Justin Meyer effective immediately.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Justin Meyer's termination is effective immediately. Finally, on to Parks and Recreational Position.
Thank you, Mayor. With that termination, we have a vacancy in our Parks and Recreation programs and maintenance. So last November, the City Council approved a new position, that was that Parks and Recreation Specialist. That position was expected to administer all the recreation programs as well as lead maintenance and operations in city parks and the swimming pool. With that position now vacant, I think the time is right to review that job description and discuss whether changes should be made to that job description. The park board discussed this position at length at their November 1 meeting. One of the ideas discussed at the meeting was breaking the position into 2 separate positions, one to manage and administer the programs and a separate one to lead maintenance and operations. Both of these positions would be part-time, irregular hour positions throughout the year, very similar to how we just staffed the building inspector position. Drafted 2 potential job descriptions for these positions. They're included in the packets, along with the existing Parks and Recreation Specialist job description. You do not need to take action on this item tonight, but I would prefer to have action taken by the end of the month in order to start that hiring process as soon as possible. So if the discussion tonight is to change the position to 2 part-time positions, we can certainly do that tonight. We can make changes to those job descriptions if you need it tonight, and we can post it as soon as tonight.
What's our response?
Who do these people report to?
Right now, they would report to me. I think
that's a wise decision. I think we should keep them reporting to you.
Okay. The only reason I would see for having any of them report separately would be the parks maintenance positions. Potentially reporting to public works. Given some shared space, shared materials, shared equipment. But beyond that, I think they're both manageable positions.
I think we should post them immediately and start interviewing. I know there's going to be a ramp-up period to get them trained on the systems, and I think we should get moving with it personally.
What was it says that Park and Rec had a discussion about 2 separate, was that did the majority of them seem privy to that, or was there some reluctancy on going to 2?
I would say the majority of them were very receptive to the 2 part-time positions.
So you think?
That's exactly.
I was at the meeting.
Yeah.
Kind of talked through it, and I just think it would be very beneficial to have somebody that's a little more flexible certain things we needed to do.
Bill, what do you guys think?
The hours we're looking, starting to sum it up, on the park and rec manager position, we're looking at starting that in February.
I would say as soon as January if we can.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could,
I would say.
if we could advertise starting tonight, get it in the paper on Wednesday, advertise online tonight. We could start getting applications immediately. I would say close it in a month, interview December. Hopefully have somebody selected by the end of the month in December or early January.
So we're gonna lose a week for Thanksgiving, and lose a week or two for Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
So,
And the hours of work we're looking for from this individual.
I think what you see is gonna average out at that 20 hours a week, but it's going to be irregular. There are times of the year where, in really most of November, December, January, February, there's not a whole lot to do with park maintenance.
Right.
Check on it every once in a while, make sure nothing's burned down, and that's about it. Now there's some work to do in the park shop yet, and we cleaned out a lot of stuff there. We still need to go through it for inventory. We still need to go through it for fixed assets. I think still needs to be done there. And just a general organization needs to be done there before we get going next time. So that would be a position, the operations position, the maintenance and operations position. I would see them working through February, March maybe, in a cold building to get things sort of organized and ready for the start of the year. The other position, that's a bit more unknown. It could be 20 hours a week. It could be more. This time of year, there's not a ton, but once you get to January and February, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to ramp up for the next program year. And then throughout the summer, they're going to be responsible for concessions, umpires, everything else that needs to be done in coordination with all the games. And that starts with soccer in April. That's all right. Baseball starting up in May. Field use for baseball starting up as early as April. And really all the way through October for programs. So not a lot of downtime through there.
And this one, the manager spot, the maintenance spot, he or she then would be responsible for that pool also then?
Yes, they'd be a certified pool operator. Which we had 3 people pass last year for that position, so.
that will keep us working back.
At least one, yes.
Are you certified?
Am I?
Yes.
I am not. Certifiable perhaps.
And we're confident this is the wise move here with 2 separate positions as opposed to what the public works director will be responsible for. There's a whole lot of things that seem to cross in the park maintenance manager position that I would expect the public works director to not necessarily perform but oversee with seasonal help. And then the planning stages of the leagues and such. I mean, I can see where we'd want a dedicated person for that, but the public works side, I'm wondering if we really need a second person for that.
The second part-time position?
Yeah.
Whether the existing public works staff could handle the park maintenance.
Correct.
I think it's gonna free up a lot of time for that person to focus on the streets, which our citizens have told us we need to work on.
Yeah.
You're right, but I think Bill's saying you're gonna have enough stuff to do besides all that. Like, there's gonna need to be more than just that guy.
Quite possible.
Than just the one part-time guy you're saying?
Right.
Well, I think we'd still hire the season.
We would still do our seasonals, yes.
This guy would just kind of manage the seasonal, I call them kids, but young adults.
He'd manage them, but he's working.
He's a working manager, he leads from the front.
Yeah, and we know now, we hadn't had this position, and we were getting to the point where we're just getting too big to really have a volunteer try to manage all that. I think we just, we tried with one FTE, and
pun intended, swing and a miss. Could one person do it? I think the right individual could probably do it. But I don't know if we can find that person. I think it's an individual who's really organized and understands the schedule is a little funky. And in my opinion, I think we try it with the two to say, okay, this is kind of the way we should go and make the right decision. And hopefully the two that we put in there are two that are legitimate, you know, but. Do we have probably already know the answer to this question. Do we have a manual of like, in January, this is what this individual should be doing, in February, you know, at least some kind of a guide?
Yeah, there's a rough outline, we'll call it.
Yeah, there was clear direction from the park board to have that established for both of these positions. So I think, given their familiarity with that, that would be a topic for them to help on.
Yeah.
As we had to hire these positions, to make sure we have that stuff on the
That'll be part of the policies and procedures we went over here in the last board meeting, I would say.
They should be, yeah.
I'll make a motion to advertise for both positions.
May I just bring us back a step there, Mr. Riley? We'll have to approve the job descriptions first.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the job descriptions.
And right now, the maintenance manager reports to the public works director. And the one that's proposed here, if that's something you want to keep, that's fine.
I would make a motion to approve the job descriptions with the amendment of having both report to you.
Okay.
I can see why we had the park maintenance manager reporting to public works, because of the tasks they're performing are under his purview more so than under Nate's purview. What's the logic behind your proposed amendment?
Because I want that public works director to focus on the roads and not worry about what's going on, who's mowing what, where, when, and why. I would much rather have their time, which hole are we fixing? Is where I would rather see that person spend their time.
Makes sense.
I mean, mowing grass to me is easy, everybody does it.
Right, and this is just as simple who he's reporting to.
Yeah.
And if our public works guy is in charge of all seasonal help, working in conjunction with this person, I think makes a lot of sense. As opposed to going through Nate, when now you have you're adding another chief into the mix here, when I think we really need these two to work together closely.
I think they would work together closely, both being reporting to Nate.
Both, who's the both now?
Well, the public works director and the park maintenance manager, or.
So you see them more on a peer level with one another?
Well, I think that the person that's in charge of the maintenance of the park should be viewed as, you know, somebody that's pretty important to our summer program.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would rather have them report and be a little, you know, to Nate, just because then Nate can give direction. Because where do the complaints come? They come to City Hall. They don't go to the public works director. Somebody's got a problem that there's weeds everywhere, they call it to City Hall and somebody here answers the phone.
Or Nate walks home from work.
Or-
Sees something.
I agree with Riley initially. I think over time, as soon as our street guy has a handle of what is going on, then he can oversee the maintenance guy.
Fair enough.
Just to see how this guy, Matt, is gonna be able to tackle everything right away, and then if we could eventually swing it, but I get your point.
It's coming from a much larger scale. I don't know that it should be something they would be able to handle, I guess.
True.
I mean, I'm sure he had a lot more employees under him than we even have altogether this time.
If I remember right, he had about 15 direct reports.
And were those guys mowing grass at the park and taking
I'm sure they're doing a combination actually, and there are times when
Cause I look
the
at.
public works positions are going to be helping at the park. Today was one of those days. There are times where our park groundskeepers are going to be helping with a street patching project for a day or two. That's not unusual. I would expect that to continue.
Cause how I look at how, like, the city of Sioux Falls sets up there is they have like a park manager that's responsible for all facilities in that park. And kind of directs the people under them to take care of the issues in the park, and then I don't know who that person reports to. I would assume probably for the overall park manager, I don't know. But I just think it's easier for a guy to manage all the projects in the park if they're down at the park all the time, not worried about streets. My personal opinion.
And I'm just looking at personal deployment and how we want this to flow. And if it is streets and we have the ability to move some people off of a park project that maybe isn't as critical as a street repair that day, I'd like that person to be able to control all the moving parts within that operation. That's my only point on this. I can see where you're making a really solid point here, but I just want fluid response, fluid decisions, not having to go through a couple hoops along the way. And just if he's in charge of our master plan for our streets and where we're going with our city, personnel deployment and controlling that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. But we got one, my only thing is we got one street that runs through the park.
Ultimately, this is semantics.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It really is.
I just wanna give the park and rec, the park maintenance manager, the ability to manage the park how that person sees fit and take care of it that way, instead of having the public works director that maybe has a different idea. Personnel, if that makes sense. It doesn't really matter if he's already the right person hired.
Well, that's really
And there's not 6 foot tall weeds everywhere. And they know how to steer mosquitoes.
Well, there's, you know, we see it the same way.
Yeah.
So do we need, for that side of things, maybe we need to wait another 2 weeks? To hash this out, you make up, both points are valid. The other position seems to be pretty solid, right? We're good with that one? Do we sit and think about that other one for?
Can we just delete off the job description who it reports to? So we can start getting applicants and reviewing that stuff and just.
To be determined.
Yeah.
But if he's gonna report to Public Works, I'd like Public Works to have a part in that interview process. And are we at a sprint right now on November 9th, where he starts November 30th? That's 3 weeks from today.
Well, and I think by the
We'll
time
have that,
he gets here and gets.
We don't have any process.
until December.
So, yeah, let's post.
Yeah.
I just wanna get people in the doors and
I think so.
see what we got.
Cool.
So I'll rescind my motion and change it to motion to post these job positions with the park and rec maintenance manager reports to as TBD.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in.
Can I clarify the motion? That to approve the job description?
To approve the job description.
Okay, approve it.
Yes, you are correct.
All right, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Now we need another motion
To approve posting.
to approve posting.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
That was easy.
We made it, guys. All right. All right, I don't think anything other for executive session, anything to add there? No?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I didn't do that.
All right, meeting adjourned.
William.
Phil.
Phil.
There you go. Phil's back.
All right, let's go.
Wow.
Hey, Nate, you got a minute after the meeting? Pretty good.